I'm reading an article from this January 5th, 1916 Russian newspaper titled The Russian Banner. And here is just the part of the first page, the original first page, not translated. And here is the article that I translated. And when I read it, does this not sound like Berlin, New York, Paris, any major city this has happened to, right? It says Moscow, overrun by Jews, has recently, with a kind of malicious frenzy or despair, increasingly emphasized its irreversible deviation from the broad and bright Russian road of life toward the dark alleys and alleys of blackmail, theft, and crime. Just think, the heart of Russia is now entirely in the hands of traitors to Russia. In Moscow, for every 100 First Guild merchants, there are 70 Jews. We see the same picture of Jewish dominance in the Moscow bar, right? I guess the law, among doctors and among journalists. In a word, all of Moscow, from head to toe, is literally Jewish. This third Rome can boldly be called the Jewish capital of the Russian province of the International Jewish Kingdom. It is, right? So they're saying there the Jews already control the world, right? The Jewish capital of the Russian province of the International Jewish Kingdom, right? Jewish kingdom of the world. It is no wonder after this that Moscow is corrupted to the last degree. Muscovites everywhere and always under the fatal hypnosis of Jewish domination, melting everything that falls into the sphere of its influence, imperceptibly to themselves degraded, or rather debased, themselves to the level of Jews, adopted from them all their indiscriminate morality, became infected with their base spirit of dry, covetous, and greedy dissenters, reading Jewish newspapers, being treated by Jewish doctors, entrusting their affairs to Jewish lawyers, tying up trade relations with Jewish merchants, applauding the greasy romances and dirty tricks of Jewish actors and concerts in the theaters, in a word, from early morning until late evening, flying from the arms of one Jew to another, from another to a third, and a third to a fourth, and a fourth to a fifth, etc. Is it really possible to list all the Moscow Jews? A Muscovite gradually but firmly acquires a moral image of a Jew. That is, the image of a humanoid creature capable of any vileness, any baseness, any base filth, a creature who prays only to gold, which believes only in personal gain by whatever means it is obtained, which does not disdain lies, blackmail, or crime, which laughs at the concept of the motherland, which spits on the church and religion, which recognizes only one morality. All that is yours shall be not yours, probably ours. Note that Moscow has always stood at the head of all kinds of quote unquote liberating reforms. In Moscow, the first barricades were built. A red rag was waved on them as a signal. Revolutionary proclamations were scribbled. Workers' revolts arose and in order to lead all of Russia the next day. In Moscow, the most intense, outrageous scandals. After all, one must think of such abomination. For example, last week, members of the Moscow City Duma openly discussed the question of how, to whom exactly, and in what size bribes should be given. This is the limit of insolence, the limit of unbridledness. This is the limit of the triumph of the melting Jewish power. Moscow is lost for Russian Russia, and it was not in honest fear that the insidious enemies of our Orthodox land overcame it, but with the intoxicating charms of the Zionist demon and cunning, and deceit and flattering whispers and threats and handouts, they entangled uh, Whitestone, I guess Moscow. I don't know. Rescue Moscow, Orthodox people, with its St. Basil the Blessed, with its crimson ringing of 44 and its royal Kremlin, and I'm not sure what that is, Monomax cap. So, but yeah, so Moscow was completely Judified, completely taken over by Jews in 1916, according to what this newspaper is saying, this Russian newspaper, and actually it had to have happened in 1915, right? Because this was written in January 1916. So, and they're saying that red flags, right, Bolshevik Jewish Marxist flags were already being raised. That's in 1915. So that's what, two years before the Bolshevik Revolution. I mean, so that's crazy. So it's, everything happens well in advance, and I guess we're not. I never knew that actually. So, but then again, I'm not. I never uh, dove deep into like 1905 to 1915 Russian history. So, but anyway, yeah, very fascinating newspaper. I'd recommend anybody go check out this website and check out these newspapers. There's like the only ones I found so far are from 1916, and it went from 1905 to 1917. So I don't know if I just am having trouble finding them or if they don't exist on that website. But looks like they have every other one for 1916, which is like I think over 200. So.